Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my February reset for you guys. So as a month, I just really love February. I love that Valentine's Day is in February. I love that I get to read so many fantasy romance-esque books and it just feels so on theme. So I have quite the TBR for this month. I'm really excited about all of them. I feel like I've crafted it very well, if I may say so myself. And I just have some really fun stuff on there, so I can't wait to go through that with you guys. I also am going to be doing my reading journal setup for February, and I'm again not straying from what I've been doing the last few Februaries, and I'm gonna be doing a, like, you know, Valentine's Day-esque kind of theme. Because why do something new and unique and fun when I could just do the same theme that I've done for the last 3 years? But I just like it. I also got some really cute stickers from my, you know, go-to scrapbook shop the last time I went there. Look at them. I mean, it's not empty because I have pre-filmed the journaling bit. That is not accurate in the slightest. But even just like the ones that are left, look how cute they are. I just love them so much and I've been waiting to use them in February. So it's time. Very exciting. So yeah, that's kind of all I'm gonna be doing in this reset. I don't really think I have anything else that I feel like I need to do. So first I'm gonna do my journaling, and then after that I will come back and we will talk through my TBR. Alrighty, so my journaling is done. And now I'm here to talk through my TBR that I have for the month. I currently have like 10 books, so that is quite a lot of books that we're gonna be talking through in this segment, but I'm so excited about all of them because they all kind of have a romance lean to them, which is definitely what I prefer to pick up in February. It just feels right, you know? I also have a couple of new releases as well that I can't wait for, and we'll talk about those in a second, because first I wanted to show you guys something that I'm doing for my Patreon in February, which I'm so excited about because I do quarterly readathons over on my Patreon. So I'm doing one in February and we're actually doing it for the entire month of February, and it is called the Away with the Fairies Readathon. You guys are shocked, I know. But I made a game board for it. So I thought I could kind of, you know, kick off this TBR by picking my first prompt, because basically how it works is you roll 2 dice and kind of move around the board, and there are a bunch of prompts that correspond to these spaces, and whatever space you land on, you do that prompt. So I thought it would be fun to do my first roll on here with you guys, and we can pick my first read of February together. Yeah, and my dice and I'm gonna go ahead and roll. You're just gonna have to take my word for it, honestly, because I don't have another camera. So yeah. All right, so I got a 6. So I'm going to go to my prompts, and prompt 6 is to read a buddy read book that you never got to. So I actually have the perfect book for this because there is one on my TBR that's like glaring at me. And I think Mackenzie will be very happy because I'm finally going to pick back up Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. This is a young adult fantasy story that is inspired by, I believe, Polish mythology, and I've also heard that it has strong House Moving Castle vibes. I did start this book last year. I made it about 50 pages in and can confirm that it absolutely does. But I just wasn't really in the mood for it at the time, but I feel like I really want to get back into the story. I've heard really great things from the people that I have seen read it. There's also a random bookmark in here. I don't know why. So I will be reading this one in February. It'll probably be my first read. I might read something before it that's not going to count for the readathon, but this is definitely going to be my first read for the readathon. So I'm very excited about this. Also, if you guys want to come join the readathon, it's very fun. It's available to all tiers, and my Patreon's linked down below. But I wanted to let you guys know, in case you want to come join, it's certainly not too late to come join and partake and just have a good time. So yeah. Anyway, with, you know, readathon things taken care of, shall we talk about the rest of my TBR? I think so. I do have 2 contemporary romances on this TBR. I'm not typically a contemporary romance kind of person. I feel like they always kind of, like, some of them are good, some of them I don't like as much. So we're gonna see how these 2 go. So the first one I have here is one that I do think I'm really gonna like, and that is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is the second book in the Lovelight Farms series, and it is following some characters that we met in Lovelight Farms that I'm so excited about. I absolutely loved Lovelight Farms. It was definitely one of my top romances from last year. It was just so good. So I'm really hoping that this one is, you know, same vibes, same feelings. I don't even know exactly what happens in this book. I don't know any of the tropes that are like present in it either, but I'm excited. It also kind of feels like a spring read. I'm pretty sure each of these take place in a new season, and even though it's not spring, it's not going to be spring for a while, it'll still be nice. So I cannot wait. I'm also going to be buddy reading this with Cass and Mackenzie, so that'll be super fun because we buddy read the first one together, like kind of spontaneously, but this one we're planning to read together. We're going to read the whole series together. It's gonna be stunning. I can't wait. Then the other contemporary romance is a book that I wasn't planning on picking up in February. I was gonna wait until my library hold came in for it because I don't want to buy it, but it's a new release. So I'm certainly not gonna get my library hold for it anytime soon, probably. But recently I signed up for Libro FM's influencer program, which is so nice, by the way. They offer like, I don't know, 10 ALCs, advanced listener copies, every single month, and you get to choose however many you want, which is so cool, honestly. But they had Deep End by Allie Hazelwood on that list, and I was like, okay, like maybe I'll listen to it on audio in February. I'm gonna give Allie Hazelwood one more chance, honestly, because her last 4 books that I've read, I have not enjoyed. So you're probably wondering, what's wrong with me? Why am I reading another one? I'm just so intrigued. I'm just so intrigued to see what her first sports romance is like. I need to know. So I'm gonna listen to it on audio. And I might start it today, honestly. But I'm pretty sure this involves like an Olympic swimmer of sorts, and that's honestly all I know about it. And that's probably all I need to know about it, so I'm gonna do that. And hopefully it'll be fun. Then moving on from the contemporary romances, I do have a historical mystery romance, and I feel like maybe you already know what it is, if you know what I'm doing throughout the year this year. But I'm obviously going to be reading A Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Raybourn. This is the second book in the Veronica Speedwell series. I'm currently doing a Veronica Speedwell read-along on my Patreon, lovingly dubbed The Speed Read, where we're going to read all 9 books throughout the year. It's pretty casual and chill, but obviously I do need to read the second one in February, then I'll read the third one next month, and so on and so forth. But I don't really remember a whole lot about what happens in A Perilous Undertaking. I vaguely remember what the mystery is, but I certainly don't remember like what the solution to it is. I don't know. I don't remember anything that goes on in this book. It's been like 2 years since I read it now, so I'm excited to jump into this one. And I'm just excited to, you know, get further into the series. So I'm gonna be reading this one. Then next up I have some classic fantasy romance picks, or maybe they're romantic fantasies. I don't exactly know what the difference is. I think they're romantic fantasies. I think that's the one where there's like, you know, equal romance and fantasy. I don't know. The first one I have here is one that I've been meaning to get my hands on for a while, and I finally have a copy of it. Well, a copy from the library of it. And that is Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is the 3rd book in the Belladonna series, and I believe it's the last one. I'm pretty sure it's just a trilogy. And I'm so excited to kind of finish out this series. I do know that there's going to be a novella release later this year, but I'm excited to kind of close out the main books in the series. And I'm really interested to see where this one goes, because as the series progresses, you kind of shift characters that you're following. And I don't know if I'm going to like the two characters that we're following in this one as much as I liked the ones that we were following in the first couple of books. So I've just been meaning to pick this one up, meaning to just see what I think of it, and I can't wait. And February does feel like the perfect time to read it, so. Then I do have a somewhat newer release, and that is Immortal by Sue Lin Tan. I really enjoyed Daughter of the Moon Goddess, so when I heard that she had another kind of romantic fantasy, but this one's a standalone coming out, I knew I needed to read it. I needed to give it a try, so I put a hold on it from the library. And thankfully, I already have it, which is so fun. This one I don't really know much about. I'm pretty sure we're following maybe a character that ends up getting involved with, oh, the Ruthless God of War? Doesn't that sound fun? But I know I love Sue Lin Tan's writing. I love her worlds. This one might take place in the same world as the Celestial Kingdom duology, but it's like its own thing. I could be wrong about that though. Let me know if you know if that's correct. But I cannot wait to get into this one. Then next up I have a book that I heard about very recently, but as soon as I heard like the general vibe of this book, I knew I needed to pick it up because it's Jazz Age Vampires, which doesn't it sound so good? I'm pretty sure it's also fantasy romance, potentially Forbidden Love, Dangerous Magic. Sounds good to me. And that is This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. I feel like I don't have anything else to say about it because the only thing I knew was that it was Jazz Age Vampires. I know this has a pretty low Goodreads average rating, but the like concept of it sounds too good to not give a try, so I again picked it up from my library. Honestly, like this TBR is really sponsored by my public library, but I'm just so intrigued by everything that this book could potentially offer me. Then I have my other new release for the month, which you guys already knew was gonna be on this list, which is obviously Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Duh. I mean, how can I not be excited for it? It's the concluding book in probably one of my top favorite series ever. It's just so fun, and I cannot wait to see what Emily and Wendell are getting up to in this one, because I have a general idea of what they're getting up to, and it sounds so good. It sounds very different. Well, not too different, but like a little bit different from like the general setting and vibe of the first two. So I cannot wait to dive into this one. It comes out on February 11th. However, I pre-ordered the UK copy, so I don't know when I'm gonna get it. Probably still in February. I just don't know if I'm gonna get it like on release day. Probably not, but I will be waiting so very patiently to have this in my hands. And a couple of you guys who have managed to get copies of it early have told me that it's really good. So I'm just waiting. I can't wait. I'm just repeating myself. Okay, moving on. Anyway, next up I have my Patreon buddy read for the month, which is also a fantasy romance book. And that is Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. This is the first book in the Saint of Steel series, which I believe currently has 4 books out. I don't think it's finished though. I think there are more. But I love Swordheart, and this takes place in the same world as Swordheart, and we have seen the Paladins that are like, I'm assuming present in the series in Swordheart, so I'm very excited to get into this one. It's a series that I've been meaning to read for a while. Obviously, I'm hoping it'll be my 5-star T. Kingfisher. I don't know though, I'm losing hope that I will actually have one. But I have high hopes for this one. Everything that I've heard about it really does sound like it is my kind of fantasy romance, so we're just gonna get into it and see. But I'm hoping it's really good. And if it's not really good, I'm gonna riot, honestly, but I feel like it will be. So, oh, also, I have no idea what this book is about. Like, I know we're following paladins, but aside from that, I'm just gonna assume we're doing some fantasy romance stuff. I don't know. Then next up, I have a book that I don't know if there's romance in it or not. It says there's an unlikely romance, but I'm gonna assume that's not like, you know, a main part of the plot, and that is A Winter's Promise by Crystal Davos. This is the first book in the Mirror Visitor Quartet, and obviously I've been meaning to read this one for a while, so it's finally time. I feel like if I don't read this in February, when am I gonna read it? Because, you know, in my opinion, March is not winter. Like, I know the majority of March is winter, but March isn't winter in the same way that September isn't summer. You know what I mean? And in the same way that December isn't fall. So I need to read this book in February while it is still wintry feeling outside. This one I also don't really know that much about. But I believe we're following, oh no, actually I do. I believe we're following our main character, Ophelia. She can see into objects' pasts, and she can walk through mirrors, which sounds really sick. And I think she ends up in an arranged marriage, potentially, with like a rival clan, or I don't know, something to that effect. So, really excited about this one. I've heard great things about it, so I've been meaning to read it for a while. I've just never gotten around to actually doing it. But hopefully in February, I will be doing. And then I actually lied because I have 11 books on this TBR, but this last one does not fit the vibes of the other ones in the slightest. Because I also would like to read Exit Strategy by Martha Wells this month. This is the 4th book in the Murderbot series, and I'm really, really excited for this one. I didn't love the 3rd one. I didn't dislike it or anything, but it wasn't, you know, as good as the first 2, but I'm pretty sure this one kind of gets back to some characters that I really enjoyed, kind of gets back to some dynamics that I was liking a lot. So hopefully I'll be reading the 4th book in the Murderbot series because I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far, so I would like to kind of continue on my momentum with it in February. So there we go. Those are all the books that are on my February TBR. As I said, I cannot wait for all of them. I feel like this is a stacked TBR. Like, it's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? So with that is everything that I have for you in this video because I've finished the 2 things that I needed to do. That's all I needed to do to reset for February. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously, I would love to know down below what are some of the books that are on your February TBR. Do we share any of the same books on our February TBR? I'd love to know that as well. Before I go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you're ever looking for more content from me, that's always linked down below. As I said, we're doing a fun readathon in February, which I'm just so excited about. If you want to come join, you totally can. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you again so much for watching this. I hope you're all having an amazing Monday, because I'm finally able to post a video on a Monday again. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!